What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Guys, I gotta drop some truth on you today, and this stems from a lot of comments, a lot of emails, stuff like that. And again, I'm always trying to help you guys out, offer some insight, anything, just experience and stuff from just stuff we've done here at the shop, all the builds. So that's what we're about to do. Let's go. All right, so as a car guy with a custom car, or not, maybe not even just custom car, but a nice, toy car, you want your engine bay to look good. And we're talking Mustangs today, but this is pretty much any car. You want your engine bay as clean and as tidy and neat as possible. So when we're talking about a Fox body or a 79 to 04 car, even really any car, you got holes, and that's any car. Again, you got holes freaking everywhere under the hood. And these Mustangs especially are bad about it. All the Swiss cheese, when you start cleaning up and maybe doing a wire tuck or eliminating some junk under the hood and putting clean shiny parts, then you start noticing how bad all of that looks. So what a lot of people do, and what a lot of people are inspired to do, is shave their engine bay. And basically, let me go ahead and explain that. Shaving the engine bay means you smooth all of this out. You get rid of the holes. There's several different ways you can do it. There's cover panels that you can put over it. You can weld the holes up, sand them down, and eliminate them that way. You can make all kinds of there's a lot of different ways to eliminate the holes, and at that point then you achieve a fresh, shiny, clean looking engine bay. But there's some issues with that, so we're going to talk about the reality of all those pretty engine bays. All right, so on the on the subject of smooth engine bays, yes, the Bimini car is back. Guys, let's just take a minute here to drool. That sounded like a bearing. Yeah. We got bearing. Well, it was a pinion bearing out. Good deal. So yes, the Bimini car is back, fresh from the body shop with the shaved engine bay. Now, this is why I know a lot of you guys, you see the videos, you see these engine bays, you're like, frick, that's what I'm doing. I've got to have it. That no ifs, ands, or buts. I got to have it. And yes, it's freaking beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Hold on, let's go look at the Reef Blue one. Yeah, guys, just because Reef Blue is my favorite color, I had to stop over here and show you another one. So we've seen all the beautiful engine bays here. Actually, no, there's another one right over here. We're looking at all the pretty engine bays, how nice they look. Man, that's what I want to do. So just keep smiling for just another minute, because I'm about to tell you all the bad stuff. And there's a lot of bad stuff. But yeah, this one does look amazing too, as you can see. All right, so let's dive into the bad of having an engine bay like this. All right, so number one, especially if you have a flat hood, you've eliminated all your ventilation under the hood. Not all of it, but a good portion of it. And if you're an OG to the channel, that's why I now have a cowl hood on my car, is because even with a ridiculously efficient cooling system, the heat had nowhere to go under the hood. All right, so that's a big problem right there. So especially if you drive your car a lot on the street, and you're wanting to run a stock hood or something close to stock, you have little to no ventilation. That's a problem. All right, so the next problem you're going to run into when you're doing an engine bay like this, so when you're filling in all these holes, you got to have a plan as to are there any holes that you don't want to fill in, that obviously not every hole can be filled in, because you got to use some of them. If you look back there, some of these holes still get used, and the question is, do you know which ones? Now, we've got it kind of down to a science here where we know where everything is going to go, so this can all be smooth. But in order to achieve that, that means you got to put all the wiring in here. You got to move brake lines. You got to, basically everything has to be relocated in order to achieve this ultra clean look. Now, let's say you screw up. Can you drill a hole? Sure, you can drill a hole. And you can mount something right there or whatever. But once you've got a hole there in your pretty smooth engine bay, that hole's there for good. And unless you want to fill it in and repaint your engine bay again, that's just something to be aware of. Once it's smoothed out and you go to drill another hole, that hole's not going anywhere. So make sure you've got that plan on the front end, and not only just drilling holes, but say you've got a supercharger or a turbo, something along those lines, and you get it all together and it doesn't clear.
Decide you want to cut the front end off.
Yeah, you could do like Boomer's car and end up cutting the whole front end off because his turbo didn't fit. So again, before you do any of that, make sure you got and if you do decide down the road to change something up, maybe it won't work. So you got to have a really solid plan unless you want to continually be redoing your engine bay. All right, so the next issue, and it's not really necessarily an issue with doing the bay itself, but it's be prepared on the front end. If you want your engine bay to come out looking like this, you'll notice what's in here. Nothing. Basically nothing. No brake lines, no struts, no nothing. Absolutely nothing. You got to gut it, and when I say gut it, you can see. All right, so while we're on that discussion, guys, I mean, look, you see the fenders are gone, the K-member's out. You need to have a conversation with whoever's doing the work. Now, if you're doing the work, no big deal. But if you're paying somebody to do the work, which I recommend, unless you do this kind of stuff for a living or you're really good at it, you need to get with whoever's doing it and say, how do you want this delivered? The way we deliver it is on casters down there. Everything's gone. You can see there's no front clip, there's no fenders, there's zero from basically the firewall forward. And if you're gonna pay somebody to do this, anything they got to take off, you're gonna get charged labor for. So again, you need to have those ducks in a row before you decide that you're gonna go down this road. All right, so the next issue is once you're all done, and this one was done, obviously, this is my car and it's off to paint. Once it's all done and all back together, and let's say you got to work on your car, guess what? Now you got to be careful. No slinging wrenches. You can't set junk down in there. You can't throw it here. You don't want to spray coolant or gasoline or brake fluid all over your fresh paint. You got to keep it clean, because as you can see, like by mine, it's all dusty and stuff like that. So now the area where a lot of times you'll be getting dirty, which is under the hood, you got to keep as clean as the outside. Now, is that difficult to do? Not necessarily, but if you're doing a full engine rebuild, if you're installing a supercharger, a turbo kit, doing a top end kit, you're going to be under here wrenching. And you know what's going to happen? You're probably going to scratch something. You're going to dent something. You're going to gouge it or whatever. And then your pretty engine bay has a nice blemish. And that sucks, especially when you've gone through all the work that we've already talked about, and all the expense and all the time, just to have one end of your ratchet come back and chip the paint. That sucks. So again, bear in mind the area where you'll be doing work, which is under the hood of your car, is now pretty. You got to keep it that way. Okay, so again, guys, we're bringing up all the stuff that we've done from experience that you need to think about before you do it. So Dover just brought up a really good point while I was filming. When you get all this done, are you really going to put an ugly old engine or ugly old master cylinder or ugly old coil or ugly old, whatever, all the stuff under your hood that maybe didn't look so bad before the engine bay was done? Now you put them in this engine bay and they look like trash. So are you going to clean and paint your engine, degrease that, put everything new on your engine, do a new booster, new master cylinder, new, clean your brake lines? Like anything old that you put in this engine bay is now going to stick out like a sore thumb. Relume your wiring, you're going to need all new AC lines if you have that, heater hoses, because again, anything old in this engine bay is going to stick out and basically detract from all your hard work of smoothing your engine bay. So again, that's more money, more time, more expense that will look amazing in the end. But again, be prepared on the front end. Old parts in a fresh engine bay are gonna look kind of bad. All right, guys, so if I've scared you off, which guys, I'm telling you, I was not intending to scare anybody off from doing an engine bay, but what I did want you to do is have a pretty good idea of what you're looking at. And hey, that's what you're looking at is, you know, there's a lot of work, there's a lot of stuff involved, and there's a lot of unintended consequences once you're done with the engine bay. So it's one of those deals where if you know that on the front end, hey, you're 100% more informed. If you're not really feeling that job, which, you know, I can understand that, especially, you know, on a car like a race car or something that you're going to be working on a lot, or something that you plan to change the combo up a lot, stuff like that. What I would do, probably, you know, just take as much out as you possibly can, clean the engine bay up with some spray detailer. You know, maybe touch up some areas that, you know, that don't look so great. I personally am not a fan of rattle canning your engine bay, especially black, if the car is not black. You know, but if you buy quality paint that won't flake off every time you touch it, and you prep well, meaning you sand it and you degrease it, and wax and grease remover, all that, it can look good. And at that point you have something that's presentable, but it's also not, it's not high maintenance like doing a smoothed engine bay. All right, boys, so that is pretty much what I got for you today. Again, just from experience, I always try to give you guys, you know, as straight of, you know, a perspective as possible. So take that for what it's worth. Think about it and mull it over. And if, you know, if you're feeling froggy, by all means go for it. But if, you know, maybe in this video you had a few things that you didn't think about and you want to take a step back and go a different direction, that's cool too. You do you, 100%, and you'll always be 100% better off. So in the meantime, if you enjoyed this video and you got value out of it, big thumbs up, make sure you smash that subscribe button. We'll catch you on the next one.